But now we see the former number 10 comms chief, Matthew Doyle, who was given a peerage only last month. He's been suspended from the party because of his links to a convicted sex offender, Sean Morton. What do you make of that?
Really pleased he's been suspended, have the whip withdrawn. I think it's really shocking. And from what I understand, I wasn't involved in the process, but what I understand was that number 10 were not aware that he continued to campaign for this individual.
Other voices are making themselves heard. We heard Stephen Flynn from the SNP talking about this very particular issue a few days ago. Others in Scotland have been saying the same. So again, why the delay with the Labour hierarchy in doing anything about these issues? There are echoes here of Mandelson again.
Well, I think, again, what we'd been told was not the truth when that decision was made.
It's been reported that women MPs and ministers were already asking for Matthew Doyle to go. Were you one of those women asking for that?
We want to make our voices more strongly heard in Parliament. There has been lots of...
Did you make yours heard?
It's not something that I was aware of. I wasn't aware of his situation.
Matthew Doyle is having the whip removed. Should he remain as a Lord?
No, I don't think he should. That's my personal view. And just like with Peter Mandelson, we've come to light. They've taken swift action. And this is part of the Prime Minister said last night and has said since the weekend, this is a reset moment now. We've got to get things right. No more mistakes like this.
Hang on. A reset moment. Why do you need a reset moment for this kind of thing to happen? Whether reset or no reset, this kind of thing clearly looks wrong and the action looks right.
But because the government weren't aware of what this individual had been happening, and just like with Mandelson, we've got to strengthen the vetting processes. We've got to take this far more seriously.
But it wasn't appropriate to keep that friendship going. It was right that she stepped down from her position and apologised for keeping that friendship going. And our expectation is, and our belief is, that that friendship will now come to an end. And what she should instead focus on is delivering for her constituents and actually being the great campaigner that Pam is actually well known for.
Look at the details of that individual story. Pam has already accepted her error of judgment in maintaining a friendship with this individual, and as you know, she is not a candidate come the election.
How can a former education spokesperson maintain any sort of standing in Parliament, not even if she's not in your shadow cabinet? Surely she must resign. So
I don't, as I say, I don't know the details of the story. It's just been published while we were in the chamber. She's accepted her error of judgment in maintaining a friendship with this individual, and we expect the highest standards. And there are certain reassurances that I wanted and demanded, and she is no longer a candidate come the election.
Why, after the lapses of judgment shown by Pam Duncan-Glancy in her friendship with a former Labour councillor convicted of possessing child images, sexual images, why is she still sitting as a Labour MSP?
Well, she's only a Labour MSP for a matter of weeks now. She made a serious error of judgment.
More than once, it seems.
I agree with you. Serious errors of judgment. And I was not satisfied in the answers or the actions that she is now taking, or the commitment she's now willing to make, and therefore she is not going to be a candidate come the next election. I think it's a serious error of judgment.
Well, this is the woman that you would have made Education Secretary, who was still friends with a convicted
which is why she's
paedophile.
no longer Shadow Education Secretary. It's why she's no longer a candidate going into the election.
But why is she a Labour MSP?
She's a Labour MSP for a matter of weeks, because we are going into an election where she is not going to be a candidate.
But is that good enough? Have you asked her about all of this in terms of the latest journalistic inquiries about whether or not she maintained her friendship with Sean Morton?
Of course I have, and
what's her
I'm not
explanation?
satisfied with the answers.
But what are the
that
answers?
is why she is not a candidate. Well, she's made a serious error of judgment in terms of maintaining a friendship and a relationship. I don't think that's acceptable, and she's not a candidate going into the election. Clearly had a breach and a huge error in judgment. I was not satisfied with those answers. That's why she is no longer a member of the Shadow Cabinet. That is why she is not a candidate, and she will remain an MSP now for a matter of 6 or 7 weeks.